Okay, hi everybody. We are going to talk a little bit about MLA citation. And the first thing I want to say is just relax about this. Um, really, citation is just about being in a community of ideas. So when you are using, a source, we just will want to know when we're interested in your source, how we can find it and learn more about it. And that's really what fundamentally citation is about. So I know we don't have a lot of time to do a lot of stuff, and there's not a lot of stuff, frankly, to do. I just want to show you a couple of quick points. So I'm on the Purdue OWL MLA Formatting and Style Guide. And you can just Google that and you can come right to this page. So what I want to show you is I'm going to come over here. There's two elements to citation, and one of them is in-text citation. So I'm going to come over to this left column here, and I'm going to go to MLA in-text citation, the basics. I'm going to click on that. And there's a few things to talk about, but I'm just going to focus for now on this one thing. So I'm looking at this square here. So this first sentence here, Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was marked by a spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. So this is called conversationally introducing your source. And it's just a lovely way to work, in my view. You're conversationally introducing your source, and that's inclusive. Quite honestly, it's narrative, right? It keeps who you're talking about in the flow of your prose. It feels good. The other beautiful thing about it is you don't have very much to put in your parentheses. In fact, in this case, we would only have to put a page number because it's a book. But more and more, we're working electronically, so there are no page numbers. And in that case, you would have nothing to put in parentheses. And so it would be really, really clean prose. There just wouldn't be parentheses. You would just conversationally introduce your source. You would have your quote, period, next sentence, no parentheses, beautiful, nice and clean. So the other way to do it, romantic poetry is characterized by the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. And then you stuff Wordsworth in a parentheses. I mean, rude, right? Rude. So not optimal. Maybe if you're just have a statistic, So obviously in a science paper, maybe different rules, but certainly the way we're working, this is not optimal. And the final example is a paraphrase. Wordsworth extensively explored the role of emotion in the creative process, and why you would paraphrase, Wordsworth is obviously that's a step down. But there is certainly a role for paraphrase. And you will certainly do some paraphrasing, I'm sure, in this project. And that's fine. You have to attribute paraphrasing. And once again, this is the way to do it. Do it conversationally. Put the source in the sentence. Do it conversationally. Again, it's likely you're using electronic sources. No page number, period. Very clean. So just a little. This is just basic how to use in text, and so as I've mentioned before, this will have minimal to no effect on your writing style, your voicing. MLA is super low impact. It was designed that way. It was quite honestly, it was designed to save paper back in the days when we were still. Pre-technology, so much of this was still being done in paper. And regarding dissertations, you could save lots of paper by taking out all these footnotes and so on and so forth. So MLA, very clean. That's how to handle in text. Do it all conversationally. That's how we'll know what your source is. You should have no parentheses. So then you have your end page citation. And it's pretty simple to figure out how to just to find what your end page citation should be, whether it's again, most of us are working with electronic sources, so you just go there, and my computer's slow today because I'm uploading a bunch of things. So they kind of give you a list, right? Author, article name, the title of the website, project or book, etc., and so forth. You can get more specific. Obviously, some of you are using movies, so you can just Google or find in the site, how to cite a movie. Some of you are doing long form, so you can find out specifically how to handle exactly what you're looking for just by Googling it. So what I want to do is I want to show you my end page. It's helpful, I think, to see a model, right? So I'm pretending to write a paper on Sarah Schweitzer. So, and I also want to show you one or two things about doing this in Microsoft Word. This is where I think Word is better than doing it in Google Docs. You have a few more controls. So for one thing, the default font is Calibri, which I hate. So I'm going to change my font to Times New Roman, which I like much better. Right. The second thing is Works Cited gets, well, the second thing is Word has this thing where when you create a new paragraph or a new section, it adds a space. I also dislike that very much. So I'm going to go into the paragraph settings, and I'm going to click this Don't Add Space Between Paragraphs. This is very helpful because it'll do that. You can do that for your whole essay, so it doesn't do that between your paragraphs. So you close that down. That's good. Okay, I want to center Works Cited. Control E is the shortcut for centering. Okay, so here's the really cool thing, though, is these need to be in hanging indents. Okay, so once again, I'm going to go to the paragraph settings and see this category special. I'm going to click the drop down and I'm going to click hanging, and I'm going to say okay. And this is a hanging indent. So the first line is not indented. If this went on 3 or 4 lines, all of those lines would be indented. That's a hanging indent, and that's how an MLA citation should be. So I have to do this for each citation. Doesn't take long. Do the paragraph settings, the drop down under special, and hanging, and okay. I've seen many students try to do this with like the return and the spaces, and you can wind up in a big mess really soon. So, so this is what I mean when I say that a lot of this is common sense. So I looked up Sarah Schweitzer. We had her at the narrative journalism when everybody went home last and second half of last semester. We instituted these happy hour discussions, and Maggie Messett, who knows everybody, well, actually Jack Schuler brought in Sarah Schweitzer. But we had these happy hour discussions every Thursday to try and keep our narrative journalism students engaged. It was very successful. So, so name first, title of the, we called it happy hour discussion. So that's what I have to use. Who had it? It was Denison University Narrative Journalism. The date that she came. It was at Denison University. Now, I can't find it. It was a Zoom meeting. So I'm just stuffing that in there because I don't know, it feels relevant somehow. I don't know, using common sense. And it was in Granville, Ohio. Okay, so there you have it. I mean, that's what it was. So this one is easier to do. A magazine article or a newspaper article. So Sarah Schweitzer is once again the author's name. These are obviously the same spelling, but I put happy hour because the first letter that's different. H comes before T. So the life and times of Strider Wolf in quotation marks because it's the smaller thing. Boston Globe is in italics because it's the bigger thing. Boston Globe Media Partners is the publishing agent, and you have to scroll all the way down to find that. LLC. My URL is next, and then the date that I accessed it, or the last date that I accessed it. I've accessed it many times. So pretty simple, pretty common sense, and this is what your Works Cited page would look like. And try and take some care that it's on its own page. But I know sometimes we make this and then we make a few edits to the essay and then we're on deadline, and it's not like you're going to quote unquote lose points. And that's it. That's all I have to say. I know you're on deadline and you're working on your essay. Good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.